So how do we tell the browser where the image is going to come from? So the first thing we need to do is source those images. So I've got a couple of images on my desktop right here. There's 2, 4, 1, and 3. So let me select these and copy. Go to my web browser. I have to make sure these images are in the same place as where my index page is. So let me paste those, and there we are. We have the images. So I have to take note of the names. This is 1.jpg and so on. So let's go back to our project and check that out. So our index page. So here, how do I tell the tag? I type src. So as soon as the browser sees src equals, it will know that this is where to get the image for this tag right here. So let me type a name like 1.jpg. Okay, so as soon as I refresh the page, you see the image right there appearing. Let me make a full screen. So there we go. Welcome to my website, and we have an image in there. Okay, so in order to display another image, we'll repeat this process again. But as you can see, this image is too large. We just want it by the corner here because we want to fit 4 images in a row. So what do? We give it attributes to follow. So how do we do that? We use an attribute called style. Style like that equals inverted commas. Now style is an attribute that tells the browser, as soon as the browser sees this, it's going to know, okay, there's an image here, but how do I display this image? Let me get that information from the styles. So let's add a style there. What we want is we want the width. We want to control the width of this image. So let's type width. Now the value of this width will be after the full colon. We add a full colon like that. So you can either use pixels or percentage. Let's try pixels. Let's say 100 px. That's how you write pixels in this case. So let's see what that does. So let me refresh, and there you see the image becomes 100 pixels wide. But that's not what we want either. What we actually want is to use a percentage. So in this case I will use okay, there we go. In this case I will use 24%. Okay, I want to use 25, but just to be sure it fits, I use 24. So as soon as I refresh that, you see the image goes to 24%. It's 24% of the width. If I resize this browser, it adjusts as well to 24% of the current width, and so on. But now what has happened is this. You can see the page 2 has gone down here, and there's an image here. This is because these two things are in the same line. They're like text, but then there's an image here in the same line. So what I need to do is break this line here, so that the image is on another line, page 2 is on another line. So how do we do that? This is where the next tag comes in, and this tag is called the break tag. This is also a self-closing tag, if you notice. This is because there's nothing that you really need to put in between this break tag, so it just opens and self-closes. So let me copy that onto our website right here before. This is where the link page 2 is. So at the very end of this link, we'll put a break tag right there. So as soon as the browser sees this, is to know, okay, I have to display the rest of the information down here on another line. So let's refresh that and see what happens, and voila, everything looks much better now. Page 2 on top, and then there's an image. So if I repeat this process and I put 2 break tags, I put one break tag after another like that, what will happen is that it will create more space between these. So let's refresh, and you see that happen right now. Okay, so now what we need is to display the rest of those images. So let me just copy this that we've already done. Let me put it down here, and what you notice now is if I refresh, it will show exactly the same image over and over. That's because they're linking to both the same image. So let me type 2 there and refresh, and there you go, there's image 2 on the second one. Now one thing to note is that with browsers, it doesn't matter the white space in between. As you can see, these are on 2 different lines, okay, but here they're on the same line. This is because the white space or the space in between here does not matter. As long as you didn't put a break tag there, it will be, everything will be on the same line. Whether I add spaces in between like that and save this and refresh, you see exactly no difference, because it doesn't matter. The white space in between here is irrelevant. What matters is the tag. Okay, so let's add more images, the rest of the images here, so it looks much better. There we go. So I can have all these on the same line or on separate lines, it won't really matter. So let me refresh that, and there you go. Oh sorry, I didn't change this. Let me change to 3, and let me change the other one to 4. Okay, so right there we have yeah, we have it, 4 images displaying right there. So now we had some text below, copyright text. So let me do copyright 2017. Okay, so if I refresh this, the copyright information comes down here. It's still on the same line with these images, so I need to add some break tags here to make sure I can add the break tags here or anywhere in between. It doesn't matter, so it moves a bit lower like that. So far so good. We have a website happening here, but unfortunately when we click on these things, it goes nowhere. And here the images are not clickable yet because they're not valid links. So how do we make them links? We go back to our A tag. Okay, this tag right here, because that's what creates a link. So here, since we already made a link for page 2, let me just copy that. Copy. Let me maximize this and paste this here. This becomes the opening tag, link tag for this image. So let me close it over here like that. So I can just copy and paste, 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 and also here. Let me close all of them to avoid confusion. There we go. Okay. But here what is happening is they're all linking to page 2. So if we want them to link to different pages, we have to type different page names here and create those pages in our website. So let me just do that. Let's do image1.html. This page doesn't exist yet, but we're going to create it. Just like page 2 doesn't exist, we'll create it. So if I go back to my website now, all the images are obviously clickable. If you hover a mouse over them, you see the mouse changes to a hand. So if I click here, it will take me to another page that's not found, and so on. So let's go and create those pages. Yeah, let's create them right now. So we go back to our folder. Oh, that's not what we need to do. We need to open a new notepad file, and let me just say page 2. Okay, as a title. So let me put the heading h1 tag, so it looks bigger when it displays. The closing h1 as well. Close that. So let me save this in web. Let me save this as page2.html and make sure I select all files here and save. So we have page 2 right here, but we need a way to go back when we get to page 2. So let me write the word back like that. But this has to be a link to link back to page 1. So let me make it a link by typing the A tag as we have learned. Use the href like so, and then I close the tag here. Always remember to close these tags, otherwise the website will look confused. So page 1 is called index.html like that. So this is where it's linking to, and so on. So I will save this and go back to my browser, refresh, and when I click on page 2 now, we have page 2 like that. When I click back, it's linking me back to page 1. This is exactly the same thing you have to do with the rest of the images. So let me just show you how to do one of these, then we can move on. So this is the page we're creating for one of the images. So in order to display the image, we need an image tag, as we have seen. Then we need to tell it the source, src, like that. Then this is a self-closing tag, so we close it like that. So let me save this information as image1.html. As usual, make sure it's all files and save. So now let's tell it where to find this image. This is for image1.jpg. Don't forget that file extension, otherwise it won't find the file. So as well as usual here, we need a way to go back to page 1. So let's create a link to this. href equals, as usual, close, and then the closing A tag like so, and then we tell it to go to index.html like that. So we save that, and then let's see what happens. We click, and there we go. We have the full image there, just like that. But the back is down here. So what we need to do, as usual, is create a break here, br/, and then we didn't specify any styles for this. Let's do that for the image. Style equals, as usual, the width of the image is, let me make it 100% like so. So let me click on that, and there we are. The image is 100%, and we have the back there on top, which brings us back. So you can repeat the same procedure for all these. create separate files where when someone clicks here, it takes them to that page with an image or something of that sort. So you might be asking, in the first website we saw, this was in the center. If you want this in the center here, no problem. Let's go back to the index.html. This is the header tag. So inside here we can specify, in the header tag we can specify a style as well. So as usual, style equals inverted commas, then we type text like that, text align. Okay, put a full colon, and then we tell it center like that. So you have to do it exactly like this, otherwise it won't work. But don't worry about knowing all these things. You will know them as we go on in the later videos. All this will become very easy for you as you move on. So let's see what happens. Refresh, and there we go. This thing is in the center. So I can do the same for the subheading. All I can do is just copy this style, copy, and go to this paragraph, make space, and add the same thing here. And when I refresh, it goes to the center as well. So there we are. We've created this simple website. All large websites, any website right now is based on these same principles. They're very simple to understand. So if you've been following along with this video, you've created a website, your first website, and congratulations for that. Until next time, when we learn something new, it's goodbye.